This is Sriparna, and in this particular playlist we have started discussing about different concepts about artificial intelligence. The last lecture that we have talked about the introduction of artificial intelligence. What is called an system to be artificially intelligent. That was the introductory video. So before starting today's video, if you want regular updates or if you like this particular channel, I will request you to kindly subscribe to my channel. So let's start. So this particular topic, intelligent agents, is quite a large topic. So I have decided to divide this particular lecture into 4 different parts. One topic will be introduction, then on the next lecture we are going to discuss about different concepts for agents, then types of environments, and then the last lecture for this particular topic of intelligent agents will be about the types of agents. So currently we are at the first part of the intelligent agents. So today we are going to discuss about the introduction, or what is called an agent to be intelligence. What are the concept of the preliminary concept of intelligent agents. So let's start this introductory video about intelligent agents. So this is the main topics that will be for today's lecture, that is the agents and environments. Not only agents are enough, the agents will be act upon an environment. So the different concepts about environment is also going to change the agent functionality. Then, as we have already discussed about the agent functions in the agents and environment topic, we are going to discuss about how to write a basic simple program to describe the agent function. Then, after designing the agent function, how we can measure the performance of the agent, that will be discussed today. So these are the main 4 topics of today's lecture. So the agent. An agent is anything that can be viewed as perceiving its environment through sensors and acting upon that environment through actuators. So as there is a concept of artificial agent, so there must be some concept about natural agent as well. Like we have discussed that as there is a artificial intelligence, so there is a natural intelligence is also there, and the natural intelligence, that is the intelligence of the human being. Similarly, in the artificial agent, basically the agents that we are going to design by software and hardware means, but that will going to be designed based on the concept or taking the inspiration from the natural agents. And the natural agents, one example is us, the human being. Yes, human is one type of agent. For the human, you are already know there are some sensory organs are there, like, so that is eyes, ears, and these are the other sensory organs that form the sensors in human agent. And the actuators for human agent, those are the hands, legs, mouth, and any other body parts by which we are going to act upon the environment. So if something is there in front of our eyes are going to gaze it, what is there in front of the eyes, that is eye in this particular scenario is acting as a sensory organ. Now suppose we are trying to cross a road, and now we need to check whether there is any car that is coming towards us or not. So based on the sensory information by the eye, we are going to decide whether to cross that road or not. Now for crossing the road, we need to use our legs. So that leg in this particular scenario is a actuator. Similar to this human agent, there is another concept of robotic agent. Here eyes that can be done using cameras and infrared range finders for sensors. And there are various motors that act as actuators for robotic agent. So this is the basic structure of agents and environment. So there is a environment you can see, and this is the robotic diagram of one agent. Now in the agent there are these cameras are there, that is similar looking to our eyes. These are the sensors. That sensors are going to give us the sensory information that is known as percepts. And similar to our hands, there are the robotic hands are there, those are the actuators, and these actuators are going to act upon the environment. So these are the actions. So just see, the percepts are coming from the environment and the actions are taking upon the environment. So you can understand from the arrow direction. Okay, so this is the concept, or this is the relationship between agent and the environment. Now, if we need to describe the thing in some simple terms, so what is a percept? Percept is agent's perceptual inputs at any given instant, and the percept sequence, that is the complete history of everything that the agent has ever perceived. That is one by one percept that forms a percept sequence. Now the agent function and program. So the agent behavior that need to be mathematically described by the agent function. And what is the function? A function maps any given percept sequence to an action. Practically, it is described by an agent program. So this is the agent function and the agent program. Now just take one very simple example of vacuum cleaner world. Here in this particular figure you can see there are two tiles are there, A tile and B tile, and some dust is present. Both the tiles have some dust, and in this particular instance the vacuum cleaner is in A tile. Okay. So now if the current square is dirty, so currently the vacuum cleaner is in A tile, that is A square. It is dirty, yes. So then we need to clean that particular tile, right? So that is then suck. Otherwise, if the tile A is clean, we do not need to suck that particular tile. We can move to the another tile, another square, that is the B, right? So that is otherwise move to the other square. Now what are the percepts, or how you need to represent the percepts here? The percept you can represent by the location and the contents. This particular example or this particular instance, the location of the vacuum cleaner is in A square. So that is A, and the contents, whether it's a dirt or a clean square. It is dirty currently. As you can see, some dust is present over there. So that is the percept can be represented by the A comma dirty. Now what are the actions? Actions can be that if this particular tile is dirty, then we need to suck it. So one action will be the suck. If this particular tile is clean, we need to move to the right side to clean the B tile. If we are in the B tile and we have already cleaned the tile B, then we need to again come to the tile A to check whether it's dirty or not. So that was the left action. And if both the two tiles or both the two squares are clean, then there is a no operation or no op action. Now how to represent this particular very simple program that implements the agent function? So here the function is, that is the name we have given, that is the reflex vacuum agent. And what does it take? The location and the status, and it returns an action. So that is, if the status is dirty, then return suck, that is you need to clean it. Else if location is A, that is when it will be else if the status is clean, right? So that is, if the particular location is clean, then we need to then return right. Why? We need to go to the tile B. And else if, that is another else if, that means if your the status is clean and the current location is suppose location B, then we need to move to the location A. So that is then return left. This is the simplest example of agent function. That is how we need to represent, or how we need to write the program for agent function. Now let's talk about the performance measures. So this is basically an objective function that determines how the agent does successfully. That is how much good it is. So you are going to give an exam, and what will be your performance measure? How much marks you are going to get. So that is, if the suppose the tile is dirty, and how much dirt you can clean from that particular square. So if you have collected 90% of the dirt or the 30% of the dirt, that is your performance measure. An agent, based on its percepts, that is the action sequence, it is said to be performing well. And there is no universal performance measure for all agents. You cannot define one particular performance measure. Why? Suppose you have one particular agent, that is the vacuum cleaner. Another particular agent, suppose your refrigerator. Okay, so the vacuum cleaner, suppose the what will be the performance measure? How much dirt it is going to clean from the tile, or how much cleaner the tile is after cleaning through the vacuum cleaner. And for the refrigerator, it might be how much colds or how much cooler it can do to the objects that are placed inside it. So that is, those performance measures are totally different. So that is, there is no universal parameter for measuring the performance. So a general rule can be there, that is the design performance measures according to, first one is what one actually wants in the environment, and the second, that is no want is, that is the thing, rather than how one thinks the agent should behave. That is, in the vacuum cleaner example, that is, we want what we actually want to clean the floor, and no matter how the agent behaves. That is, we are not going to restrict how the agent behaves. Agent can go randomly from left to right, right to left. It can randomly grow any corner of one particular square. So that we are not currently checking. So that is not going to be in our performance measure. Now suppose our performance measure is currently how much cleaner the particular square is. Now suppose I have designed the performance measure is something like that. The square should be clean as well as consuming the less amount of power. So that means now the performance measure has two parameters. So it cannot randomly go to one tile to the another tile. So if it goes randomly from one tile to the another tile, that will be by consuming some power. So that we don't want. We want to have one particular vacuum cleaner that consumes least amount of power but cleans most amount of tile, right? So that was the performance measure. Based on the performance measure, it should be designed, the agent function should be something like that, based on the performance measure. Now, as we have already told, in the next one, we are going to discuss about the different concepts for agents. So in this particular lecture, we have already discussed about the introductory topics about intelligence agent. Next, we are going to go for the concepts of agent, that was the rationality, omniscience, different concepts are there to understand agent in much more deeper. So for today's lecture, thank you everyone for investing your time. Please do subscribe and happy studying.